1981.
Like most folks, I started off as a baby, but I was born into a world where an actor named Ronnie was president. He was shot that year. The Pope was also shot. US-Soviet tensions were higher than ever, and the AIDS virus was the new epidemic. In spite of all this, video games were huge. The one console in particular that was sweeping the nation was the Atari 2600. But it wasn't until 1984, at the age of 3, that I truly remember attempting the console for the first time. That's me with my grandma. There were two games in particular that I remember the most. Pitfall from Activision, and Freeway, also from Activision. However, my earliest and most fond memories come from the arcade, attempting to play Popeye and Donkey Kong for the very first time. Little did I know that later on in life I would fall in love with the company that released both games, Nintendo. Between the two though, Donkey Kong was my favorite, and he had an awesome breakfast cereal.
1986.
86 was a huge year for me. I was in kindergarten and my parents got me my very first Nintendo Entertainment System. This gave me my first taste of Super Mario Bros. This wasn't just a big deal for me, it changed the face of gaming, and the world as we knew it. But Super Mario Bros. Was just the beginning for the NES. I fell madly in love with later titles, like Castlevania. Double Dragon. Kid Icarus. Of course I can't leave out The Legend of Zelda. Metal Gear. And of course Mega Man 2 in 1989. 1989 was a big year. There was a movie starring Fred Savage called The Wizard that promoted all kinds of Nintendo products. It also introduced us all to the Power Glove. It's so bad. 89 was also the year I got addicted to Game Boy, and my mom subscribed me to Nintendo Power. Oh man, Nintendo Power was great. It was full of tips and codes. It had comics and posters as well as cool contests. Like this one, you could win a bike, or you could get a game cart signed by Andre the Giant. Hulk Hogan? Hulk Hogan? That's not right. Anyway.
1991, dog.
91 was the next big step for me. That Christmas I got a Super Nintendo. This was also exciting because this was the first time my dad played a video game with me. It was F-Zero. Listen as my sister and I instruct him on how to play like the country bumpkins we were. Are.
I'll show you how to rock in a minute. You can race against everybody if you want.
Dad eventually got better. One of my favorite games of all time is Super Metroid. This game was dark and complex. It gave me nightmares. For the time, the graphics were amazing. And who didn't love Turtles in Time? Of course, these are only two titles in the amazing library of games for the system. So the years went by. Technology advanced as it does, and though some amazing games came to new consoles, something was lacking. Games started to feel more like simulators and interactive movies more so than video games, and I found myself just going back and playing the games I fell in love with originally. In fact, I started collecting games I was never able to play in my adolescence. Those games that were once $40 to $60 games were now $3 to $8. Heck, people were even giving them away because they were quote unquote obsolete. So I took advantage of the situation and collected everything I could. With the advent of the internet, I could even get Japanese games that never came out in the States. In December of 2012, I decided to take my passion for retro games and use it towards something creative. I started filming a series of reviews for YouTube called Nostalgianomicon, where I played the character the Game Ghoul. I only did 4 reviews through the first half of 2013. Some of my friends saw it and wanted to come aboard, so I expanded upon the idea and re-released the reviews on a variety show we called Retro Cynical. We did 2 whole seasons as a 3-piece, and though work and personal obligations don't allow Daniel and Jeremy to help out as much as they used to, I can't imagine the show being where it is today without them. Well, that leads us to present day. Retro Cynical has seen its fair share of episodes, and I'm still playing those games of old. Well, until this happens.